and welcome back to STEM Smart Academy, where we are going to discuss the Kcse Mathematics Paper 2, that is the Kcse 2021, that was done on March 2022 due to the effect of Corona. So we are going to have a look at this question paper step by step, and in this section, in this paper 2, our area of discussion today is in section 1. So invite your friend, get your math tools ready for this beautiful session. Don't forget to subscribe to our channels. If you find the channel supporting or rather helpful, don't forget to subscribe if you are still also new to our channel. So straight to question number 1. Let's have a look at question number 1. Remember, at the top there you can see our consultation number. You can reach out via that number so that you might get some clarification where needed. So looking at question number 1 of our paper, we are being told in question 1 that an empty tank of capacity 18,480 liters is to be filled with water using a cylindrical pipe of diameter 0.028 meters. The rate of flow of water from the pipe is 2 meters per second. Find the time in hours it would take to fill up the tank. Find the time in hours it would take to fill up the tank. Looking at that question, learners, what should be the best approach in this question? First of all, let's compute the amount of water delivered by the pipe in 1 second. I want to start by getting amount of water. Let's start our discussion by getting amount of water delivered by pipe in 1 second. This is given by, to get the amount of water delivered by the pipe in 1 second, it is simply the cross-sectional area times the rate. Remember, we are talking about 1 second. So because it is the pipe is cylindrical, so its cross-sectional area is like saying the area of a cylinder, which is given by 22/7 by the radius 0.014 squared times the height. How are you going to get the height? If you have the rate 2 meters per second, so in 1 second it will be going a distance of 2 meters. 2 meters. It will be going a distance of 2 meters per second. Now I want to get it in liters, so I'm going to multiply now this one here by 1,000, because this should be cubic meters, and 1 cubic meter is equal to 1,000 liters. What about this? So you multiply it by 1,000. This is giving us 1.232 liters. So that is the amount of water delivered by the pipe in 1 second in liters. So to get the time taken to fill the tank, we know that if in 1 second this is the amount of water that gets in, what about this amount? So this is going to be now 18,480. You divide this by 1.232. This is going to give us, remember, This is still giving us the time in seconds. That is still giving us the time in seconds. Getting to our calculators, 18 for 80 divided by 1.232. This is giving me 15,000 seconds. But they want the time in hours. You know that 1 hour is equals to 3,600 seconds. What about this? So time now in hours. To get now the time in hours, we are going to take 15,000. You divide this by 3,600. 15,000. You take 15,000. You divide by 3,600. 15,000. You divide by 3,600. This is going to give, because now they want the time in hours. This like saying 4 and a 6 hours. Or you can write your answer to 4 significant figures as 4.167 hours. That is how you get your answer in question number 1. Allow we have a look at question number 2. The first term of a GP is 2 and the common ratio of the GP is also 2. So here they are saying the first term. Remember, the first term is normally given as A being equals to, the common ratio R is also 2. The product of the last two terms of the GP is 512. The product of the last two terms. So I can say maybe let the number of terms be n. Let the number of terms of this GP be equals to n. So the how do you get the nth term? The last term here should be given by, the last term should be given by AR n minus 1. Then the second last term should be given now by AR n minus 1, which is just like saying minus 2. AR n minus 2. So they are saying, if we've done this analysis, remember, if we've done this analysis, they are saying that the last term, when I take the last term and the second last term, that is AR n minus 1 times the second last term, which I got as AR n minus 2, this should be giving me 512 because their product should be 512. So in this case, we are going to have our A term is 2, so it will be 2 into 2 into, or rather let me talk about this as 2 times R, which is 2 power n minus 1, which I don't know. Then multiply what you get there, you multiply it by 2 times 2 power n minus 2. This gives you 512. Now when you look at the question, how are you going to proceed? How are you going to proceed with this question? I want you pay so much attention. This can be written as 2 times 2 into 2n minus 1, then 2n minus 2. Just a moment, let me get for you the log table here so that I show you something from the four-figure table, something that you don't have to struggle about. Let me go towards the end pages here of my log table. I want to show you the importance. You know, some of you don't know why are you allowed to go with this math table in your exam. There are some formulas written here which even the neck council is allowing you to refer. No one prohibits you from making reference to any formula written in this log table. I want to look at this. Maybe when you talk about these formulas, it's at times it's also very important for you to have a look at these formulas. And you can see for the GPs, you can get the formulas there. APs also the formulas are there. So this is n minus 2, sorry. This should give me 512. 512. Then 2 times 2, 2 times 2 is going to give us 4 into 2 raised to power n minus 1. Then 2 raised to power n minus 2, giving me 512. I want you to follow this keenly. Now, when we are here, because I'm multiplying 2 raised to power n minus 1 and 2 raised to power n minus 2, because I'm doing the multiplication, I can combine them into a single base, then multiply the powers. Sorry, add now the powers. So, base, the law I'm applying there is when I have, for example, b power m, sorry, when I have b power m, b power m times b power n, this can be written as b power m plus n. I want to apply that formula to want to apply that law here. So this is going now to be 2, then this will be n minus 1 plus n minus 2. This should give me 512. 512. Then when we are there, remember I'm almost wrapping this question. When we are here, this is like saying 4 into 2 raised to power, now n plus n becomes 2n. Negative 1 plus negative 2 becomes negative 3, being equal to 512. Divide here by 4, divide also here by 4. I'll be left with 2 raised to power, I'm saying 2 raised to power 2n minus 3, being equivalent to, this is 128. 128, let me just maybe maintain first the 128. Then finally I now proceed and say 2 raised to power 2n minus 3 should be equal to 128 can be written as 2 raised to power 7. Now you can see in that case the powers are the same, so the bases are the same. I'm going to ignore to drop the bases and proceed with my powers. So I'm going to have 2n minus 3 being equals to 7. This means that 2n will be equals to 10. Therefore, my value of n will be equals to 5. Remember the question wants the number of terms of your GP. So the value for n will be equivalent to 5. Don't forget to subscribe if you are a first timer in STEM Smart Academy. You can also drop a comment where you are following us live from dear learners. We keep wishing you success in your ongoing exams. Have that composure, trust in God, keep praying and focused. You are all going to get these A's in Jesus' name. Let's look at question number, I want to have a look at question number 3. The expression ax squared minus 30x plus 9 is a perfect square where a is a constant. Find the value of a. You've been told to find out the value of a, learners. You know that for a perfect square, then AC should be equal to b over 2 squared for a perfect square. So when I take the this is our a, this is our b, this is our c. When I take my a, which is just a, times my c, which is 9, should be equals to b, which is negative 30 over 2, but now you square. This is 9a. 9a times 9 will be 9a, will be equals to negative 30 divided by 2 is negative 15. When you square that, you get it as 225. So the value of a will be given as 225 divided by 9. So our a, when you take 225, don't forget to use your calculators. When you take 225 learners, you divide by 9, it's going to give you a as 25. The value of a is going to be 25. That is how you respond to that question. As simple as that. As long as you know that AC is equals to b over 2 squared for a perfect square, then you are good to proceed. Look at how simple Kcse is, and this is how it will be. Make x the subject of the formula. Remember, here you've been given y being equal to bx all over the square root of cx squared minus a. Learners, the first thing is we get rid of this square root by squaring each side. I'll square the denominator. I'll also square my numerator. Also the left hand side I square. Upon squaring, I'm going to have, upon squaring learners, I'm now going to have this is y squared being equals to b squared x squared all over the square and the square root cancel, so this is going to be over cx squared minus a. Then the next thing is we are going to cross multiply. We'll be having y squared into cx squared minus a. This will be equals to b squared x squared. The motive is to make x the subject of the formula. Let's open the brackets on the left hand side. We are going to have y squared cx squared minus y squared a being equivalent to b squared x squared. Now, because we want to make x the subject of the formula, let's collect everything that has an x on one side. I want to take this to the left, so that on my left I'll now be having y squared c x squared minus b squared x squared being equal to, this comes to the right and becomes positive y squared a. Positive y squared a. Then on the left hand side I can factor out the x squared because it's common. So I'll be having x squared into y squared c minus b squared. This will be equals to y squared a. Then to get x squared, I'm going to divide through by that. So x squared will be equal to, when you divide through by y squared c minus b squared, so we'll be having y squared a all over y squared c minus b squared. We are doing well. Now, to get rid of the square on the x, I'm going to square root both sides. So I'll be having x being equal to, ladies and gentlemen, whenever you are square rooting, don't forget plus or minus. Then you put in the square root symbol, where we'll be having now y squared a all over y squared c minus b squared. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of that question. We've come to the end of that question. Thank you. Let's now proceed to question number 5 of our discussion. Question number 5. This is all to prepare you learners for your upcoming exams. In question number 5, you can see we are being told that the figure below shows a circle and a point P outside the circle. A point P outside the circle. Using a ruler and a pair of compasses, construct a tangent to the circle from P. Construct a tangent to the circle from P. Now, how do we construct an external tangent? Step number 1, learners. Step number 1, we need to locate the center of the circle. I'm just going to give you guidelines, but I'm very sure with my guidelines, you are going to understand. To locate how do you locate the center of a circle here? Let's draw any chord here. I can have this as my first chord, a chord of any length. Remember, a chord is a line that tends to divide a circle into 2 segments. I have that as my chord. Then in Form 3, you learned that the perpendicular bisector of any chord passes through the center of the circle. So let me bisect this chord that I've drawn, a chord of any length. Now, once I bisect it, remember mine is just a sample. I've now bisected that line, that chord. I'm very sure that this perpendicular bisector is passing through the center of my circle. Then I need to get the second chord. Let's have our second chord, maybe just any 2 chords. This is my second chord, learners. That is my second chord. In my second chord also, I have to bisect that chord. The perpendicular bisector of even this second chord will be passing through the center of my circle. So let's say this is the perpendicular bisector, for instance. This is the perpendicular bisector. At some point you will see the perpendicular bisectors of the 2 chords have intersected somewhere, and the point of intersection of those 2 perpendicular bisectors gives you the center of your circle, which I can call O. We have now located the center of our circle. Remember, I said I gave the rule here is draw any 2 chords. Draw any 2 chords. Maybe let me just give the procedure here so that whoever is following can do it. Draw any 2 chords and bisect them. That is step number 1. Step number 2, I've said in the intersection of the 2 bisectors is the center of the circle. So I've located my center of the circle. What should be the next step? What should be the next step, dear learners? Our step number 2, now I'm now going to join the center of the circle to the point P. Let's now join from the center of the circle to the point P. Like that. So our step 2, I've said join O to P. Join O to P and bisect. After now I've joined O to P, I'm now going to bisect this line OP. Hope you know how to bisect a line. Stand at O. Let me just show how to bisect this. To bisect line OP, stand at O, make an arc at the top, make an arc at the bottom. Come to P without adjusting the same, make an arc, make an arc. Let's say, for instance, I've bisected it this way. So this point where I've bisected, I can call it M. I can label that the perpendicular the midpoint of OP to be M after bisecting. Remember, I'm giving you the procedure stepwise, and I can tell you this question on construction of tangents is commonly tested in Kcse. So don't be surprised when you meet a question involving construction of tangents from Form 3 work in this year exam. Now, after bisecting it, I've labeled that point M. Step number 3, I can say, let me give the next procedure. With OM as the radius, comma, stand at M and make 2 arcs to the circle. Let me explain what I'm saying. Remember, we've already located point M. Now we are at the point of getting your tangents. You measure the distance OM. After measuring the distance OM and without adjusting your compass, now stand at point M, make an arc at one point there, maybe another arc with the same distance, another arc at the bottom. So those the points where the lines, so the points where the arcs have cut the circle, that's the point where the chord, where the tangent will be touching in your circle. So now you join from P through that point. I want you to be very keen. That is a tangent. Similarly, this is how we do it here. It should be touching this. The tangent should be touching the circle at that point. That is how you construct the tangents, external tangents. I think I've explained them clearly. I think I've given a vivid explanation. We are done with that question. Allow now I move to question number 6. Please, if you find this channel helpful, impactful, and very clear, straight to the point, don't forget to drop your comment in the chat section and also tell us where you follow us live from. Thank you. Question number 6 is another question from Form 3 work. Four quantities P, Q, R, and S are such that P varies directly as the square root of Q. P varies directly as the square root of Q. Okay. P varies directly as the square root of Q and inversely as the square of the difference of R and S. Hope you are understanding the language in use. Quantity Q is increased by 44%, while quantities R and S are each decreased by 10%. Find the corresponding percentage change in P correct to 1 dp. So they said that quantity, that P, we have here P, varies directly as the square root of Q and inversely as the square of the difference. Kwani first get the difference of RS, that is R minus S. Then now the square of the difference. So that is what is meant from the simple English in use there. So this is a joint variation. So this can be written as P is equal to K root Q all over R minus S, then you square. So after we've gotten that as our P, now they are saying that quantity Q is increased by 44%. So when you increase Q by 44%, I want to get our new P, which I can call P prime, will be equals to, when you increase, this is going to be maybe K root. When you increase something by 44%, the new percentage will become 100 plus 44, that is 144, which in decimal form will be 1.44 of Q all over while quantities R and S are each decreased by 10%. So if you decrease each by 10%, it will mean our we are going to have now this is we are going to have this as so if you decrease by 10%, meaning the new percentage is 100 minus, and the new percentage will be 100 minus 10, which is 90%. In decimal, it will be 0.9. So we are going to have 0.9 R minus 0.9 S, then you square. I hope that is clear. Follow this keenly, learners, for it is very important. So proceeding, we are going to have this as P prime being equals to K to the root of 1.44 of Q all over. When you look at this case, 0.9 is common. So we are going to factor it out. So it's going to be now, but the 0.9 was also squared. So we are going to factor the 0.9 squared out. Then we'll be left with R minus S squared. Hope you understood that step. When we are here, now let's work this out further. P prime will be given us. The square root of 1.44 will be 1.2. So I'll be having this as 1.2 over 0.9 squared. This will be K root Q. I want learners, you follow this keenly. K. We have K root Q into R minus S squared. So 1.2 over 0.9 squared, this is going to give us our P prime being equals to 40 over 27 of P. Remember, K root Q over R minus S squared is P. So that is our new value of P prime, our new value of P. So to get the percentage, compute now the percentage change in P, we are going to take now 40 over 27 minus 1 over the original 1. You multiply now this by 100%. So this is going to give me 48.1% to 1 dp, 48.1%, and this is increased. So 41.8% increase. Don't forget to tell your examiner that it is an increase. Alright, I think that is in order. We have already found how many marks. We've already taken 4 marks from that simple question. Let's have a look at now question number 7. Let's have a look at question number 7, learners. Another beautiful question worth discussion. The figure below represents a prism ABCDEFGH of length 6 centimeters. Length 6 centimeters. The cross-sectional BCFG of the prism is a trapezium in which GF is 11, BC is 8, the BCA is 8, BG is 5, BG is 5, this side here is 5, and angle GFC, GFC is now this angle here. It's 90 degrees. Is equal to BCF, which is 90 degrees. GFC, let me just see. GFC is equals to BCF, which is 90, meaning that this angle here is 90, as per the question. Calculate correct to 1 dp the the angle between the line FA. Let me first draw the line. They are talking about the line FA. So this is the line they are talking about. The line FA and the plane GFEH. GFEH and the base, that is. They want it and the base. A very simple 3D question here. Hopefully, we are going to execute it without any trouble. Now, looking in this question, the best thing we can do here is because it is angle between a line and a plane. How do you get angle between a line and a plane? Angle between a line and a plane is given by the angle between a line and a projection of that line on a plane. Angle between a line and a plane is equal to angle between a line and its projection on that plane. I think I've made that one clear. So looking at this question, remember this angle here is 90 degrees. So we can have it done this way. First of all, the plane, the projection of AF is FH. Let's have its projection here. This is the projection of AF that way. Then I want you to take note that by the fact that these are trapezium, if this side was 8, if BC is 8 and GF is 11, then I want to drop a vertical, the vertical height of this trapezium. I call maybe this point here, point K. The distance GK will be 11 minus 8, which is 3. If that is 3, I want now we compute, and remember this is 90 degrees. I want now we compute BK. Now I'm going to have something like this. Dear learners, ladies and gentlemen, let's enjoy this 3D question together. The same way you love pizza should be the same way you love this 3D question. When you have here G, my K is here, this is 90 degrees, my B is here, this is 5, GB is 5, GK is 3, BK will be the square root of 5 squared minus 9 squared. This is like saying 25 minus 3 squared, not 9 squared. 25 minus 9 is going to be 16. So we have the root of 16, which is 4. So the distance BK, the perpendicular height of this trapezium, is 4 centimeters. 4 centimeters. Now, after we found that as 4, it also means that if I drop, because the trapezium is the cross section, if I get the perpendicular height of the trapezium of this solid on the other side, which I can call maybe this M, maybe I call it M, this will also be 4. Now, by that fact, let's also join now M to K. I want you to be very observant here, for great things are happening. That distance is still 6. That distance is still 6. After that, remember, it's cutting at some point here. Let me get, there's something I want you to know. There is something I want you to get to know. Because this was a diagonal, if I extend this line here, down here, it will be cutting at let me see. In fact, the best way, let me have this done this way. I've dropped it to vertically there. Then I can also join this one here like this. And I can call this point X, for example. If I call that point X, if I've called that one point X, remember this angle here is 90. This one here is also 90. We are doing very well. We are doing very well. So look at, I want you to be very keen and look at triangle AFX. AFX, let's have it here. Triangle AFX. I want you to be so much keen learners. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the sweetness with mathematics. We normally say numbers don't lie. So A is here, F is here, and X is here. So when you look at AX, that is 4, that vertical height is 4 centimeters. Let's also have a look at, I want to be very keen. Let's get F. I want to talk about FH. To get FH, because we have something like this. This is H, this is F, and this is G. This is 90, this is 6, this is 11. To get FH, it is the square root of 6 squared plus 11 squared. So this is like saying the root of 157, because 121 plus 36 is 157. So that is the square root of 157, the total distance FH. But now when you look at this triangle, I want also we get a look. The distance, I want to look at this triangle. Let me draw it on this other side. Remember, with 3D, you have some questions that you need to do some drawings to be able to get it right. These ones here are just here to make your work easier. So this is, if this X, this is A, this is H. It's 5. This is 4. So to get HX, it is the square root of 5 squared minus 4 squared. That is 25 minus 4, 25 minus 4. Sorry, this is like saying 25 minus 16, that is root 9, which gives you 3. So HX is 3 centimeters. So if HX is 3 centimeters and the total distance HF, remember, we now have HX as 3 centimeters. 3 centimeters. But HF, when you look at HF, HF can be given as HX plus XF. So HF, which we found to be root 157, is equivalent to HX, which is 3, plus XF, FX. So that means that FX, XF is given as root 157 minus 3. And AX is 4. AX is 4. So this is the angle we want. Remember, the projection of line AF is FX. The projection of line AF is the projection of AF is XF, or rather FX. Okay. So now this is the angle we want, angle between a line and its projection. We have the opposite and adjacent. We are going to apply the concept on tan, whereby our tan theta is going to be the opposite, which is 4, over adjacent, which is root 157 u minus 3. Root 157 u minus 3. This is going to give you, our theta is going to be now the tan inverse. The tan inverse of 4 over root 157 minus 3. So our theta is going to be now 21.8. Sorry, is it just a moment? Let me confirm something from my calculator. It seems again it's giving me some issues. Just a moment. Not 21. This should be 22.77 degrees. But remember, the question is to 1 dp, so this should be 22.8 degrees. 22.8 degrees. 22.8 degrees as your answer. 22.8 degrees as your answer. Let's look at our next question. The cash price of a gas cooker is 20,000 shillings. A customer bought the cooker on hire purchase terms by paying a deposit of 10,000, followed by 18 equal monthly installments of 900 shillings each. 900 shillings each. Annual interest compounded quarterly was charged on the balance for a period of 18 months. Determine, correct to 1 dp, the rate of interest per annum. The rate of interest per annum. Ladies and gentlemen, a very simple question here again. We have, so we all know that, first of all, I need to get the principal. Principal is given by the cash price minus the down payment. So the cash price is 20,000. You minus the down payment, a deposit of 10,000 was made. So meaning that these people had a principal of 20,000 minus 10,000. That gives you 10,000. 10,000 was the principal. Then we are going to use the compound interest formula, whereby we all know that amount is given by P into 1 plus R over 100 power n. So amount, first of all, let's get the amount. Amount paid was 18, amount was paid in 18 months, and each installment was 900 shillings. When you multiply this is giving us 16,200 as the amount paid. So applying the formula for the compound interest, amount, which is now 16,200, should be equal to the principal, which we've already found to be 10,000, into 1 plus the rate. The rate, remember, this is being compounded quarterly. The rate will be R divided by 4 divided by 100. Because you divide the rate by 4, then the number of the n will be multiplied by 4. So our n, it is 18 months. So it is 18 divided by 12, convert it to years, then now multiply that by 4 because it is quarterly. When we are here, we are going to have this as 16,200 divided by 10,000 should be equal to 1 plus r over now 400 power, this is going to be power 6, power 6, power 6. When we are here, we are going now to get the sixth root of each side. We are going to remove that power, you are going to get the sixth root of each side. So this is going to be now the sixth root of, remember these ones cancel, the sixth root of 16.2 should give me 1 plus r over 100. So 1 plus r over 400. Then if that is the case, if this is the case, this is the case, I want to be very keen, and I don't want to complicate so many things here. So here we are going to have, I want to make r the subject of the formula. So I'm going first to have 1 crossing over, whereby I'll be having the sixth root of 16.2 minus 1 being equals to r over 400. Then after that, we are going to have r being equal to the sixth root of 16.2 minus 1, all this being multiplied now by 400. Inputting this to my calculator, I'm getting my r is 33.5% per annum. 33.5% per annum. Hope that is in order. I hope that is in order, dear learners. Let's have a look at question number 9 of our discussion. Question number 9 of our discussion. The table below shows the values of t and the corresponding values of h for a given relation. On the grid provided, draw a graph to represent the information on the table given. You can see h against t. So let's do the plotting. When t is 1, h is 8. T is 1, h is 8. We plot at the top here. When t is 2, h is 4. 2, 4. You plot there. When t is 3, h is 2.7. 3, 2.7.2.4, 0.6.7 is here. When t is 4, h is 2. T is 4, h is 2 is here. When t is 6, h is 1. So when t is 5, h is 1.6. 5, 1.6.2, 0.4.6. When t is 6, h is 1.3. 6, 1.3 is here. When t is 7, h is 1.1. 7, 1.1. When t is 8, h is 1. 8, 1. Now, I know some learners can get confused and think maybe this should be a line of best fit. Some might get stuck on whether this line should be a line of best fit or a line of a curve. Sorry. First of all, at times this one you've been drawn, but in cases where you've been given such a data, this first row normally becomes your x-axis. This second row normally becomes your y-axis. So learners, I want to implement that. X then followed by y. So looking at this, I can look at the type of question here. I've been told using the graph to determine correct 1 dp, the rate of change of h at t equals to 1. So this statement at t equals to 3 clearly tells me that this should be a curve. A curve should be drawn using a free hand. Let's draw it using a free continuous curve, free continuous curve, a free continuous curve, a free continuous curve. Okay, mine might not be that smooth because I'm drawing it on a laptop, but you've seen how it is. Then they are saying at t equals to 3 to determine the rate of change. So at t is equals to 3, we are going to draw a tangent touching the curve at t is equals to 3. So when you look at it well, t is equals to 3 is here. And remember, a curve should only touch a circle at one point. So the tangent should be touching a, a curve at one point. That's at t is equals to 3 there. We are now done. So after drawing your tangent, remember, this is our h, this is our t. After drawing our tangent, learners, the rate of change is just like the gradient of the tangent. So you need to know that the rate of change is equal to the gradient at t equal to 3. So let's have a look at it at t is equals to 3. First of all, let's pick that point. When t is 3, what's the value for y? When t is 3, in fact, that one even you can get from the table, y is 2.7. 2.7. Then we pick another point. Another point we can pick is the point, any point here that you can easily read the coordinates. I can pick the point 60. Then now let's get our gradient. Our gradient is simply change in y over change in x. So this is going to be 0 minus 2.7 over 6 minus 3. So this will be negative 2.7 over 3, which gives us negative 0.9 as our gradient. Remember, they wanted to 1 dp, so the answer should be negative 0.1. Negative 0.1. I hope that is in order. It's my hope that we are in order, dear learners. Let's look at question number 10. Let's look at question number 10. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you are new. The equation of a trigonometric wave. The equation of a trigonometric wave is y is equals to 4 sine ax minus 70. The wave has a period of 180 degrees. So before we respond to this question, let's have this. When you've been given a general equation that y is equal to maybe I can talk about a sine bx, maybe minus theta or plus theta. This can be plus or minus theta. There are things you need to know. A gives you the amplitude. The coefficient of x here, that is b. The 360 over b gives you what is called the period. Then theta gives what is called the phase angle. The moment you know that, your work becomes easier, learners. And for the first angle, even if it's negative, just take its absolute value. So once you are being told to get the value of a. When you look at a is the coefficient of x. When I take 360 over the coefficient of x, it will be giving me what is called the period, which is 180 in this case. So that means that when I take 360 over the coefficient of x, which is now here our a. This will give you your period, which you've been told here to be 180. Then this is going to be now 360 over 180 is equal to a. Therefore, the value of a is going to be 2. The value of a is going to be 2. Deduce the face angle. I've told you that the face angle is our theta here. So our face angle is the absolute value of negative 70. So the absolute value of negative 70 is what? 70 degrees. Kindly learn us. The face angle cannot be negative. Just take its absolute value, which will now, in our case here, it will be 70 degrees. I hope that is in order. Let's have a look at question number 11. A point Q is 2000 nautical miles to the west of P. To the west of P. Find the longitude of Q. So that means, if you look at this question, it means that the location of P is 40 degrees north, 155 degrees west. The location of point Q, because it is to the west of P, it means they lie along the same latitude, 40 degrees north. Then I don't know this, but because it is to the west of this, I can say maybe y degree point Q west, y degrees west, like that. So when I have west, I want to get my theta. West, what do we do? West, how do you approach that? You subtract. And looking at this, it will be now y minus 155 degrees. That's your theta. Then once you have your theta, learners, I want to embrace this. To get the distance PQ in nautical miles, because it's a distance along a smaller circle, it will be theta times 60 cos alpha. But now the distance, you've been told it is 2000. So 2000 is equal to, our theta, we found it to be y minus 155 times 60 cos alpha. Our alpha is the common angle, which is 40. So this is going to become 2000 is equal to y minus 155 times, let's see, let's make use of our calculator here once again. I'm happy of all those people who are following. I'm very sure you are going to gain something here. 60 cos 40. From my calculator, 60 cos 40 is, I can write 45, maybe 0.96. Upon opening the brackets, I'm going to have this as 2000 being equals to 45.96y minus, I have 155 times 45.96. This is going to give me 7,123.8 upon collecting like terms. So when I take it there, it will be plus 2000. So this is going to be 9,123.8 being equivalent to 45.96y. So dividing through by 45.96, you're going to get the value of y as, let me divide 45.96. 45.96. This is giving me 198. And I want now you learners to be very keen. 198.52 degrees west as my value of y. Now, when you reach here, learners, let's be in agreement. We've reached here that is our value of y. Remember, latitudes have a maximum of 180 degrees. Our y value here is exceeding 180 degrees. What do? We are going to look at its equivalent, or because you cannot have 198 degrees west, that means it has overlapped to the eastern side. So I'm going to look at a way. I'm going to look at a way. So this one here, you can subtract from 360. Now, when you subtract this from 360, or if you don't know the principle of subtracting it from 360, we know that we are going to look at no, it should just be subtracted from 360. So our y will be now given by 360 minus 198.52, and now this is now going to be now on the eastern side. This is going to be now on the eastern side. So let's see, 360 minus 198.52. This is giving me 161.48 degrees east now. 161.48 degrees east. But what is the question asking? The longitude of Q to the nearest degree. So your answer should be now 161 degrees east. I want to understand that principle, that the maximum a latitude, the maximum a longitude can go is 180 degrees. Likewise, if you exceed 180, you will no longer be moving on the eastern side. So you will no longer be moving on the western side, but you will now be on the eastern side. Likewise, you need to know that the maximum a latitude can go is 90 degrees. When you exceed 90 on the northern side, you will be now on the southern hemisphere. So do some practice there, learners. And now I proceed to question number 12. A box contains 3 brown balls and 9 green balls. The balls are identical except for the colors. 2 balls are picked at random without replacement. Draw a tree diagram for this. So in the first pickup, I can pick a brown ball or a green ball. In the next pickup again, I can pick a brown or a green. Similarly, I can pick a brown or a green. So we had 3 brown and 9 green, meaning the total number of balls were 12. So in the first pickup, the probability of picking a brown ball will be 3 over 12. A green ball will be 9 over 12. If I've picked a brown ball, meaning I'm left with 2 brown balls, now I can pick 2 over, now the total reduces to 11. In this branch, I've not picked any green. So green are just 9, but the total reduced to 11 because one ball was already picked. Likewise here, there were 9 green balls, I've picked 1. So the green balls will remain 8 over 11. The brown balls remain untouched, 3, but out of now the total 11. So our possible outcomes, to show all the possible outcomes, the possible outcomes here can be blue, 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 green, green, blue, sorry, blue, brown, 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 green, green, brown, and green, green. I'm used to blue because most books will find that they're talking about blue balls. So this is what is called the possible outcomes. The possible outcomes. Already I have my 1 mark. As simple as that, learners. Unaanguka hesabu ya nini jameni? Mwanafunzi. Let's look at part B. Determine the probability that the balls picked are of different colors. Balls picked of different colors can be blue, green, or green, blue. Brown, green. So this is the probability of picking brown, green, or probability of picking green, brown. So you can see brown, green, here you can see brown, green, 3 over 12 times 9 over 11. 3 over 12 times 9 over 11. Remember the term or in probability means plus. Green brown. Green brown we have is 9 over 12, 3 over 11. 9 over 12 times 3 over 11. So this is going now to be 54 out of 132, which can be simplified to 9 over 22. As simple as that, learners, you have already your 2 marks. Just look at how you collect marks in Kcse. Very simple. Question number 12. The figure below shows triangle XYZ using a ruler and a pair of compasses. Locate a point M on the triangle. This is a question on low side because I'm seeing the term locate. Locate a point M on a triangle such that M is 2 centimeters from line XY. XY, 2 centimeters from line XY. So how do you make sure that it is 2 centimeters from line XY? 2 centimeters from XY means I will stand at X. First I will measure 2 centimeters using a compass. I will stand at Y here. With my 2 centimeters, make an arc maybe that way. I will also come to X. With the 2 centimeters, make an arc. So the line, because it's 2 centimeters from that point, this should be the line. Based on that condition, the line should be touching at these corner points, at the ends of the arc. If that line is now 2 centimeters from the line XY, remember I've measured 2 centimeters, stood at Y, make an arc, stand at X also, make an arc. Then, and is equidistant from line YZ, YZ and YX. YZ and YX, that is an angle bisector loci. We are bisecting angle Y. Hope you remember how to bisect an angle. So to bisect this angle Y, I'm going simply to stand at point Y, make an arc, come here, make an arc, make another arc. This is how you bisect an angle. So the moment you bisect this angle Y, you realize the moment you bisect this angle Y, let's bisect it and see. You realize that that is your bisector. That bisector of that angle is equidistant from line XY and YZ. It's equidistant from line XY and YZ. Okay. So this point, do we have any other condition? This is your M. Then you're being told measure, let me just see, equidistance from YX. Yeah. Measure YM. Let's now measure the distance YM. When you measure the distance YM, your distance YM now here, learners, is 4.1 centimeters if you measure it, if you constructed well. 4.1 centimeters. Ushapata hata ya alama tatu jameni. You are almost approaching an airplane by now. In fact, you are at an airplane if what was to be marked is exactly what you've done, then you are correct. Up to that point, it's already 100% of work done. This is the third last question. The position vectors of P, Q, and R are this. Show that P, Q, and R are collinear. To show that P, Q, and R are collinear, I'm first going to get vector PQ. I can get vector PQ, which is given by Q minus P. So our Q is the coefficients are 12, negative 5, 6, minus P. P is 6, negative 2, 3. When you subtract, this is giving you 12 minus 6 is 6. Negative 5 minus 2 will become negative 3. 6 minus 3 will become positive 3. This is my PQ. I want also maybe to get, after getting PQ, allow, I also get maybe PR, or rather even QR, but let me just get PR. PR is R minus P. So I'm going to have my R, let me see, R is 8, negative 3, 4, minus P, which is 6, negative 2, 3. When you subtract, 8 minus 6 is 2, negative 3 minus negative 2 will be negative 1, then 4 minus 3 will be 1. So this is our PR. Now, for them to be collinear, then they must be parallel. And for them to be parallel, then one vector should be able to be expressed in terms of the other. So when you look at this, I should be able to tell that if the two are parallel, then when I take PQ, I can obtain PQ by taking a certain scalar, which I can call maybe H PR. Let me confirm if this is true. PQ, we have PQ is 6 negative 3 3 being equals to H into PR, which I found to be 2 negative 1 3. By this you can see 6 is equals to 2H, meaning that the value of H here is 3. The moment the value of H is 3, then I know that PQ is equals to 3 PR. Now because PQ can be expressed in terms of PR, it means that they are parallel. So I'll come and say, after confirming that, I'll now come and say that PQ is parallel to PR because I've shown them down here. Remember, for two vectors to be parallel, then one should be able to be expressed in terms of the other. PQ is parallel to PR with point P as a common point, hence P, Q and R are collinear. That is how you justify your points. You put the 3 marks into the bag as you proceed. Let's have a look at question number 15, our second last question of discussion in this paper. In a transformation, an object of area x square centimeters is mapped onto an image whose area is 13x square centimeters. Given that the matrix of transformation is x minus 1, 7, 3x, find the possible values of x. First of all, let's get the area scale factor. The area scale factor, take area of the image, you divide this by area of the object. Area of the image divided by the area of the object. So our image is 13x. So this is going to give me 13x over the object is x. So my area scale factor is 13. When you divide 13x over x, x and x cancel, leaving you with 13. Then let me also determine the determinant of the matrix of transformation, which is given as the product of values in the main diagonal, that is x times 3x minus 7 into x minus 1. So this is going to give us x times 3x. We are going to have this is 3x squared minus this is going to be 7x then plus 7. That is our determinant. Then there is a relationship existing that area scale factor, or rather the determinant of the matrix of transformation, should be equivalent to the area scale factor. There is that relationship existing. So when I take my determinant of transformation, that is 3x squared minus 7x plus 7. This should give me the area scale factor, which is 13. So this is going to give us a quadratic equation, 3x squared minus 7x minus 6, giving you a 0. So we are going to work out this quadratic equation so that to get the value of x. Remember, our quadratic equation is 3x squared minus 7x minus 6 is equals to 0. That is our quadratic equation. So I'm going to look for two numbers whose sum is negative 7 and whose product is negative 18. When you look at it, our two numbers should be negative 9 and positive 2. Negative 9 and positive 2. Feeding them here, we are going to have 3x squared minus 9x plus 2x minus 6, giving you a 0. Then you factor out the common term. This will be 3x into x minus 3 minus 2 into x. This should be plus 2 into x minus 3, giving you a 0. We'll be having 3x plus 2 x minus 3, giving you a 0. So this gives you the value of x being equal to negative 2 over 3, or x can be positive 3. So those are the possible values of x, either negative 2 over 3 or positive 3. And that's how you get again another 3 marks. Very simple Kcse questions. Let's have a look at the last question of discussion, learners. We are having our last question of discussion. Find the area enclosed by the curve. Find the area enclosed by the curve. Y is equal to x squared. Remember, the curve is y is equal to x squared plus 2x. The straight lines x is equals to 1, x is equals to 3, and the x-axis Dear learners, before I start working out this question, I know it is to integrate, but before I do the integration, it's highly recommendable that I give a sketch of my curve so that I get to know which region is lying maybe below the x-axis and which one is lying above the x-axis. So when you get an integration question, kindly make sure first you give a sketch of your integral. That's going to give you a highlight on exactly what is to be done. Remember to subscribe to STEM Smart Academy and share the link to your other friends. So for us to give a sketch, we need to know the turning points. We need to know the turning points and the intercepts. So first of all, let's get our intercepts. Maybe when let me get the intercepts. That is going to help me a lot. My intercepts will be I know that in x-intercept the y value should be 0. So when I feed it here, 0 being equals to x squared minus plus 2x. So this will be 0 being equals to x into x plus 2. So the first value, x can be equals to 0 or negative 2. Then I want also to know, in fact, 0 can be x or -2. That's the point where it's cutting the axis. And I obviously know that in y-intercept, the value of x is 0. Remember, what I'm doing here is what's called curve sketching, and it's also very important. In fact, I'm making you also to learn about curve sketching, which can be a question in its own in some exams. So y in the x-intercept y is 0. So in the y-intercept x is 0. So y will be equals to 0 squared plus 2 into 0. So in this case, y will be 0. The moment I've known that, I can now give a sketch. If this is now my Cartesian, I know that it's cutting the x-axis at 0 and -2. It will be cutting here at -2. It will be cutting here at 0. The y-axis, it's also there. Then what else do I need to know? I also have to know about the maximum and the minimum points. That is what is called the turning points. After remember what I'm doing here is simply I'm also showing you how to do or rather how to respond to a question that will tell you give a sketch of your graph. Give a sketch. After we've gotten our intercepts, we need to get what is called the turning points. And one thing you need to know about the turning points is that dy dx equals to 0. And if dy dx equals to 0, so let's get our dy dx here. That is to differentiate. This will be 2x minus 2 giving you a 0. So this means that 2x will be equals to 2, meaning that x will be equals to what? 1. The value of x is 1. And so this will be 2x plus 2, -2 here. So the value of x should be -1. The value of x should be -1. So I want to know the value of y. So when x is -1, the value of y will be given as -1 squared plus 2 into -1. So y will be given as 1 plus -2, which is -1. So the point there is -1, -1, -1, -1. Then I also need to know, is this point a minimum or a maximum point? Is it a minimum or a maximum point? So I'm going to have the value of x, then the gradient, and the nature here. Remember, I'm encompassing all this here to help you in some other questions. They are very, very important. Don't ignore. So when you look at this, when x is -1, I can pick -2, -1, maybe 0. Then I replace them to the gradient function to get my gradient. Remember, our gradient function is 2x plus 2. So when x is -2, 2 times -2, that will become -4. -4 plus +2, that will be -2. Because it's -2, this will be a negative gradient. When x is -1, this will be 0. So a negative through 0. Then when x is 0, this is going to be +2. So that tells you that the point, you need now to know that the point -1, -1 is a maximum, is a minimum point, is a minimum, is a minimum point. So we have the point -1, -1. -1, -1, I'm very sure it can be somewhere here. This being -1, -1. So let's now give a sketch of our curve. This is how our curve is going to look like. I hope I've explained it step by step. So it's going to come there, cut the x-axis through 0 to the turning point. Through the turning point, again, it will be cutting x through, after this, it will be cutting like this again. then it goes like that. But now they are saying x is negative, x is 1 to 3. So x is 1, x can be 1 here, 3 is here, and the x-axis. So when you look at the region that they are talking about, this is the region. Fortunately here, that region is lying above the x-axis. So it is now very simple. Because it's above the x-axis, meaning we are just going to integrate the whole of it. So to get area, our area here is going now to be given as the integral of the y function with respect to x. But now the limit should be negative. The limit should be 1 to 3. Our limits are 1 to 3. So this is like saying we are integrating from 1 to 3 the function x squared, plus 2x with respect to dx. So how are you going to integrate? Remember, you increase the power by 1, then divide by the new power. So this is going to be now x cubed over 3 plus x squared plus c. Then you wrap it in square brackets and insert your limits. Then you proceed, substitute the limits into the x. So this is going to be 3 cubed over 3 plus 3 squared plus c minus 1 cubed over 3 plus 1 squared plus c. So 3 cubed is 27 divided by 3. That's going to be 9. 9 plus 9 plus c minus, this will be a third, plus 1 plus c. Opening the brackets, this is going to be now 18 plus c minus 4 over 3 minus c. So in that case, you can see the plus c and minus c is going to cancel out. So our answer is going to be 18 minus 4 over 3. Let me use a blue pen for clarity. This is going to be now 18. You minus 4 over 3. 18 minus 4 over 3. Again to your calculator for higher degree of accuracy. When you have 18, you minus 4 over 3. This is giving us 16 and 2/3. 16 and 2/3 square units. So that is our area. Remember what I did here on the red pen was just to show you the necessary steps, because sometimes you will find if the area is under the curve and above the curve, you calculate them independently, then you add, ignoring the negative sign. But I'm also sure you've learned something about curve sketching and getting the turning points. Thank you for this session. Make sure you've subscribed, liked, and shared our videos. See you in our next session soon. Goodbye.